For every Sherlock Holmes, there's a Dr. Watson, and for every Batman, there's a Robin. Wait, that didn't sound quite right. Okay, maybe take out Robin. Hey guys, it's P.E. Gilbert, your blogger, writing consultant, and the author to the upcoming fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter. And today, we shall look at part 3 on how to create an incredible secondary character. But before we go any further with today's content, hit that subscribe button. In parts 1 and 2 on the same subject, we looked at the first 6 tips on how to create an incredible secondary character. These included: decide how many secondary characters there will be in your story and what their roles will be, decide the secondary character's goal and the reason for it, decide the secondary character's endpoint, decide the story arc for the secondary character, decide the secondary character's positive and negative traits, and give the secondary character a flaw, all with the relevant examples. Now we shall discuss the final 3 tips so that you can create a secondary character that your audience will just be fascinated by. Tip 7. Give the secondary character an internal conflict. If you want to make your secondary characters really complex, the best way to do it is by giving them internal strife and linking this internal strife to the plot. That way, the audience will empathise with the secondary characters, even if they don't agree with their decisions. Possibly the best example in fantasy of a secondary character with an internal conflict is Boromir of Gondor. At Rivendell, Boromir vows to defend Frodo and help him reach Mount Doom so that he can destroy the ring. There is no question that Boromir means this, especially after all that Mordor has done to Gondor over the years. But Boromir also cares deeply for his father, whose rule is failing as the steward of Gondor, and for his people, who have suffered so much at Mordor's hands. Boromir knows that Gondor does not have the strength to withstand another impending onslaught from the orcs, and he sees the ring as his one chance to save everything that he holds dear. Thus, towards the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, Boromir, in a moment of madness and utterly seduced by the ring, tries to take it from Frodo.
Couldn't be mine. It should be mine. Give it to me. Give it to me. No. Give it to me.
This leads Frodo to abandon the Fellowship and for Boromir to do his utmost to save Merry and Pippin in vain from the Uruk-hai, resulting in his own death. Another secondary character who is internally conflicted is Ser Jorah Mormont from A Song of Ice and Fire. At the start of A Game of Thrones, Ser Jorah is a knight in exile, longing to return home to Bear Island. He agrees to spy on Daenerys and Viserys Targaryen and poison Daenerys in exchange for a royal pardon. But as he spies on her, he falls in love with her, and then he can't make up his mind on the one hand if he wants to stay with her in exile or if he wants to return home to Bear Island. So he saves her and continues to spy on her. Eventually, at the end of A Storm of Swords, Daenerys learns of Ser Jorah's treachery and banishes him. But because Ser Jorah still loves her like a lovesick teen, on his way back to Westeros, he kidnaps Tyrion in the hope that this will somehow ameliorate her and that he will win back favour.
Risky scheme. One might even say desperate. You think Daenerys will execute me and pardon you? I'd say the reverse is just as likely.
It remains to be seen how Daenerys is going to respond to this in the next volume, The Winds of Winter, whenever this will come out. Tip 8. Decide the backstory for each secondary character. Secondary characters do not come out of a vacuum. They come from somewhere, and their past experiences influence them in a positive and negative way. Thus, their past, to have a bearing on the plot, must influence their decisions, i.e. how they impact the main character and what he decides to do. Take, for example, Neville Longbottom. At the start of the Harry Potter series, we learn that he was brought up by his formidable grandmother, Augusta, and not his parents, and this partly explains why he's very timid and suffers from low self-esteem. And in the 4th volume, The Goblet of Fire, we find out that Neville's parents were tortured into insanity by the Dark Lord's allies and no longer recognise their own son. Neville's background is sad in so many respects, but it also explains why he is so determined to stop the Dark Lord and why he fights so heroically alongside Harry during the battle for Hogwarts in the 7th instalment, The Deathly Hallows. Our second example is one that I am greatly looking forward to finding more about in the next volume of the Kingkiller Chronicles, and that is Denna. Denna is quick-witted, intelligent, and very talented, yet she is also homeless, evasive, always on the lookout for a patron/sugar daddy, and disappears from time to time, causing Kvothe, the main character, heartbreak. What made her like this? Well, I hope that in the third volume, Doors of Stone, we find out more about how Denna became the person that she is and how she influences Kvothe. Tip 9. Decide the age, gender and status of each secondary character. The age, gender and status can give the audience an interesting perspective of the society from where the secondary character comes from or lives in. But nothing more. This is because the age, gender and status do not in and of themselves explain why the secondary character makes the decisions that he does. Let's look at Hermione Grainger, and come to think about it, there are a lot of Harry Potter references in this topic. Hermione gives us a fascinating insight into what it is like to be an 11-year-old girl from a non-wizarding family in Potterverse. But that is not what makes her worthy of note, other than when Draco Malfoy calls her mudblood, of course. Rather, what makes Hermione engaging and significant to the plot is her intelligence, her loyalty to Harry, her rigidity to the rules, and her ability to find solutions to seemingly impossible situations. None of this in and of themselves, though, have anything to do with her background. Our second example is Selina Kyle / Catwoman from The Dark Knight Rises. Her background as a cat thief is not what makes her appealing or what keeps viewers on their toes. Rather, what makes her engaging is that she is smart and skilled, can kick ass, and is utterly untrustworthy. Consequently, we never know if she's going to help Bruce Wayne / Batman, or if she's going to side with Bane. A really good book that I've come across recently with a secondary character with an interesting place in society is Blade from Nyna Queen's The Trueborn Heirs series. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Nyna Queen. Check out her book, that's the Trueborn Heirs series, and the first is By a Thread. Check them out, I've left links in the description below. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have found this video on how to create an incredible secondary character useful and interesting. Like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think of my tips. Do you agree with them? What do you think I've missed out? Moreover, come the 2nd of July, my debut fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter, is going to be released, and then you can check to see whether or not I keep to my own writing tips. Otherwise, join me next time when we'll discuss how to create an awesome villain or antagonist. Until then, keep well. Once again, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, and then you will be the first to receive more awesome content from my channel, and I hope to see you again soon.